Hello, my name is Kristen Brown, and today I will be speaking to you about an educational thinker by the name of W.E.B. DuBois. W.E.B. DuBois' name is actually William Edward Burgard DuBois. He was born in 1868 in Barrington, Massachusetts. He is a very influential thinker and activist of the 19th and 20th century. He also had a horrible time growing up in the educational system due to racism. However, he didn't let that discourage him from achieving goals that he put out for himself. In 1895, he ended up graduating from Harvard University with a PhD. Now, that is an amazing accomplishment and goals that I want to achieve. I want to end up with my own PhD. However, this is all about DuBois, which he deserves all the credit and all the recognition for everything that he has done. So shortly after he graduated from Harvard, his actual career started to take off. In 1899, he did a case study on the African Americans' culture and education. It was the very first educational, pretty much case study ever done in history. And this pretty much led to bigger and better things for DuBois. For example, he had an idea to oppose Booker T. Washington's Atlanta Compromise. He felt that that compromise was not good for the African American community. He stated that African Americans should not compromise. They should pretty much fight for their rights, which I totally agree. You shouldn't compromise if something that God actually gave you is being taken away. It motivated others to begin to fight for their rights. And after a while, he came up with another idea that he felt as if African Americans should be taught by other African Americans, which I partially agree. And the reason why I partially agree is I feel as if an individual wants to accomplish certain goals, that he or she just needs to work hard at it. However, I also see the side that DuBois was getting out. He was trying to say that African Americans understand African Americans and everything that they have been through, which that should make it easier for them to relate to one another. And also with the poverty rates of African Americans back then compared to now, it changed a little. But it's just I understand DuBois' point of view on that. So next I want to share my screen with you. And on the screen you will see my brochure. As you can see, the first part is discussing his life, DuBois' life. And as you can see, he did die in August the 27th of 1963, unfortunately. And he was such an amazing influence to my race. So, yeah. All right. So, within this brochure, you will see his educational background, his education journey. I just felt like this information was well needed because you want to know where he came from. So the next page is pretty much discussing the educational impact in his ideas as well. So please make sure that you go back and you view my brochure. But I have already discussed majority of it. And my favorite quote is, education must not simply teach work, it must teach life. And I totally agree, because education is one thing that no one can take from you. And if you work really hard and accomplish goals, it actually will help you within your life. Now, DuBois, he did desire for freedom, equality, higher education, and social justice. And what surprisingly happened was that he had a huge impact, not just in the United States, but it reached other places like the Caribbean and parts of Africa. And so using his knowledge, his want to make sure education was how it should be for Blacks, he was able to touch and influence more and more people around the world. And I feel like that's a beautiful and wonderful thing. So he used his educational background to assist in his needs to make sure that he had a huge impact on the slavery that was occurring to African Americans, also to just all the overall racism issues that was happening and how it was affecting the education. And so he just used many different platforms. And so if I go to the next slide, or the next page, I'm sorry. If I go to the next page, you will see a few publications, and these publications were actually used to assist him in his work, in his actual career. And so you will see the publication date, or when it was published, as well as what does each one of these publications discuss within them. And then also, he was one of the founders of the NAACP. He did have in a disagreement with Walter White, who is the head, or who was the head of the NAACP. Because DuBois, he wrote articles that advocated voluntary segregation and also supporting the Black children, by wanting them to have Black teachers. And so that was one issue that he did encounter, but he still believed that education was the fundamental right that should not be compromised for any reason, and segregation was wrong. Throughout his life, DuBois just pretty much tried to find answers to discrimination. And also, he just wanted to fight for Black equality within the school system. Now, his writings were pretty much used to express a lot of this so that he can get information out. His principles on universal education, desegregation, all of that information should be highly praised. Schools should not be segregated because all men and women are created equal in the sight of God. Even though the civil rights movement ended about 50 years ago, his impact can be seen in the educational system today. And so I really hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I pray that you are staying safe, you and your family, and thank you for watching.